Okay, welcome to the National Fellowships and Scholar Programs information session for STEM undergraduate opportunities. Um, my name is Chastity Graham, and I'm going to share some information with you regarding opportunities that might be of interest to you as a STEM major. Um, First, I'd like to share the agenda with you. So we're going to talk about a couple of things today. First, we're going to talk about what is a national fellowship? What does that mean? Following that, we will talk about what can you do with the national fellowship? What might a STEM pathway look like? I will share some information with you regarding 10 different fellowships, just to give you a little snippet of information about how each one works and what they might entail. And then we have the pleasure of having some of our National Fellowship scholars with us who will share their experiences with you so that you can hear from the student perspective and find out what their journey was like as they applied for and went through the process of applying for a National Fellowship. Following that, we'll talk about what makes a good applicant, what you need to do as a student to get started if you're interested, and then what might be next if you are interested. Okay, very briefly, I'd like to take this opportunity to know who is in the audience. So if you will, please tell me your name, major, year, as well as what are you interested in exploring in STEM. And then also for those of you who may not be students, if you will kind of give an introduction of who you might be in the chat. And then I will take a moment to introduce myself again and have my director introduce herself as well. No one's wanting to introduce themselves. You can just put your name, major, your year, what you're interested in exploring if you're STEM, and if you're not a student, if you're one of the NFPs, if you can drop your information in the chat as well. Or if you're a staff member, if you can drop your information in the chat. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. All right, well, I guess we have some shy participants, and that is quite all right. I hope that you will warm up as the session progresses. As I mentioned previously, my name is Chastity Graham, and I serve as a National Fellowships Coordinator for STEM disciplines and STEM majors. And I will now like to ask my director to introduce herself as well.
Sure. Thanks, Chastity. So I'm Jen Bess. I'm Director of National Fellowships and have been at USC for the last 11 years, which is kind of a long time. But STEM awards are some of my favorite, and there's a lot of options. So I'm really excited for everyone to learn about what opportunities are out there today. So thanks, Chastity, for having me here.
Absolutely. And I see a few more people are dropping their information in the chat. So thank you for those of you who are continuing to let us know who you are. If you have an opportunity while I'm speaking, please take a moment to read who we might have in the group with us. If not, you will be hearing from several of these people later in the session. Okay. All right, So as we continue, I am interested in knowing what do you think, before I share any information with you, um, what do you think of when you hear the term National Fellowship? What words come to mind, or what definition? If you can't think of a full definition, what words might come to mind when you hear National Fellowship? You can drop those ideas in the chat. Okay, funding, thank you. Any other ideas about what a National Fellowship might entail? What does it mean? If you have a definition or just a word that comes to mind, or words that come to mind when you think of this term. Opportunities, thank you. Okay, opportunities to gain experience, opportunity to explore your interest in STEM and beyond. Okay, those are all great answers. Experiences and networking, yes. Okay, anybody else want to share? All right, well, thank you for those of you who did share. So let's talk about what is a National Fellowship. I want to share a definition with you. Okay, a National Fellowship is a nationally competitive, merit-based award that can fund opportunities outside of the university. So for those of you who mentioned opportunities, that is definitely a part of National Fellowships. A National Fellowship is usually going to require you to write essays that ask about your goals, why you want a particular fellowship, and how it might help you in the next steps. And as someone also mentioned, National Fellowships can fund different types of experiences, and I will share some of those experiences with you later in the session. All right, so as a student, you might be wondering, what can I do with a National Fellowship? Does anybody have any ideas before I share some ideas with you? As a student, what might you do with a National Fellowship? Okay, conduct research. Travel. Help expand grad school opportunities and build networks. Thank you. Those are all great answers. Any other answers? Okay. Opportunity to explore your interest in STEM and beyond. Yes. Learn a new language and encourage more collaboration. Yes. Okay, so let's hear about what these students displayed here on your screen. How did they use National Fellowships? Let's hear about that. Okay, as someone mentioned, one student, the first student pictured here, used her National Fellowship to fund graduate school. She was a biology major, or she is a biology major. Some others might use a National Fellowship to study abroad, like Miss Felicia McGill, a math major. Other opportunities might include learning a critical need language, like this student here, Mike Panessa, who was a biology pre-med major. And last but not least, you might use a fellowship to connect your STEM interests to policy making, like Michael Gallagher, a mechanical engineering major. Okay, so these are four very different ways in which National Fellowships can be used for you as a student. And just to give you a little bit of information, as I go through the presentation, I am going to share some STEM specific National Fellowships with you. However, I want to point out that the student who used the National Fellowship to fund graduate school, she won the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship. So that was a specific or STEM specific fellowship. This second student who studied abroad won the Goldwater Scholarship, which is also a STEM specific scholarship. However, the last two students are simply STEM majors who applied for a different type, not necessarily STEM specific fellowship, but they were STEM majors. So even if you, don't hear about a specific fellowship that you're interested in today, there are so many of them. I'm just sharing some of them with you. And it may be that you apply for one that is STEM specific, but keep in mind that as a STEM major, you have unlimited opportunities. And so it will be worth your while to explore other opportunities in addition to the ones that I might share during this presentation, because there are multiple types of awards. All right, so again, just as we've mentioned in discussion so far, some of the ways in which you can utilize National Fellowships to fuel your STEM pathway are listed here. You can use them for research, studying abroad, domestic study, so at another university other than USC, but within the United States, learning language for graduate school, or for government and public service. So again, as I share information with you about various opportunities, please think about how your academic background, as well as your interests and professional goals, might be in alignment with some of the opportunities presented. So think about if you want to do research, if you want to study abroad, whatever your interests are or your professional goals, think about how they might align with some of the opportunities that I am going to share. All right, so the first group of fellowships or STEM specific fellowships that I'd like to discuss with you are focused on research. And I'm going to just give you a little bit about each. So the first one that we will talk about is the Dodd Rise. This fellowship is for sophomores, juniors, or seniors to do summer research internships in STEM fields in Germany. This fellowship is usually going to be due in December. For this fellowship, you need to have at least a 3.0 GPA, and your major should be in biology, chemistry, computer science, physics, earth science, or engineering. During this experience, you would be matched with a doctoral student or students, as well as researchers who you will assist, and those individuals will serve as your mentor. There's a monthly stipend associated with this experience, and they award about 300 scholarships each year. So that's the Dodd Rise. And Jen, please chime in if I forget anything that we need to add about any of these. All right, thank you. Okay, the next fellowship that I'd like to share with you is the Goldwater. This is this is the most prestigious undergraduate award for students in math, science, and engineering. This fellowship is for sophomores and juniors with a 3.8 GPA, as well as previous work research experience, and it's for students who are planning a research career in STEM. The Goldwater application is due in October. We have had a winner in the Goldwater, or for the Goldwater, every year since 1993. So we have a long history of success with our students with this one. Something important to note is that as a student, you must apply and then be nominated by the university. The university can nominate up to 4 students. And this program is really looking for students who have an intellectual curiosity in the sciences, math, or engineering, as well as some potential for contributing to research in their particular field of study. Okay, that's the Goldwater. Okay, the National Institute of Health Summer Institute, or NIH Summer Institute, is for undergraduate students who are interested in doing biomedical research with an NIH mentor. It is going to be due in November. This program offers scholarships to students based on a specific financial need. If you look on the website, it gives you the specific criteria for eligibility. So it will be important that you read that to see if you are a candidate. Students must have at least a 3.3 grade point average. And this one also has 2 service requirements associated with the program. So one part of service would be a 10-week summer internship with NIH. And then the second service requirement would be 1 year of employment with an NIH lab for each year of scholarship funding. Okay, so if you're interested in biomedical research and you understand you meet the financial criteria as well as the GPA criteria, as well as you are aware and committed to the 2 service requirements, this might be a fellowship of interest. Right, and then one more research-focused fellowship, National Science Foundation Research Experiences for Undergrads, or REUs for short. These are for undergraduate students who would like to do research at other universities, and there are multiple opportunities. And for that reason, they have various deadlines. So there's not just one specific deadline that I can share with you. Some of them are due in February, some of them are due in March, and others may have other deadlines. So there are lots and lots of options. Most opportunities are going to be in the STEM fields, but there are some opportunities in other fields as well, such as the social sciences. Also, it varies as to whether or not these will require you to do research. Some programs require that students have research while others do not. So if you don't have research, you can search and figure out which one might fit. There is a requirement of at least a 3.0 GPA for the REUs. But again, REUs are, there's so many of them, there's likely one that will be a perfect fit for you. Okay, I'm going to pause here before I move on to the next set of fellowships to just see if there are any questions or comments from the group. You can also drop your questions or comments in the chat if you have any at this time. All right, well, if there are none, I will move on to the next group of fellowships. Okay, this next set of fellowships will have an environmental focus. So if you are interested in topics such as environmental research, policy, or education, these might be of interest to you. The first one that I am going to discuss is referred to as the Hollings Prep. This fellowship is specifically for freshmen who are interested in working with NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as well as a NOAA mentor. It's going to be due in March each year. And the purpose of this program is to prepare freshmen to then become competitive applicants for the actual NOAA Hollings Scholarship. The prep program pairs students with a NOAA mentor for 4 to 6 weeks over the summer. And as a part of this program, students receive a scholarship and a stipend, training, professional development, as well as help for, help with applying for the NOAA scholarship. All right, and the Noah Holland Scholarship that I mentioned, this program is for sophomores who are interested in environmental research, policy, or education. It is going to be due in January. And this program offers students the opportunity to become a part of NOAA's mission. In order to be eligible for this scholarship, you do need to have a specific major in one of the following areas: oceanic, environmental, biological, and atmospheric sciences, math, or engineering. Also, I think remote sensing technology, physical and social sciences, or teacher education. So any of those majors would be okay to apply for this particular fellowship. Also, this one is open to a variety of majors, as I just mentioned, but the big idea here is making sure that you do share a commitment to NOAA's mission, and NOAA focuses on science, service, and stewardship. And in your application, they will ask you to, write about how your goals are aligned to NOAA's mission. All right, so that's the Noah Holland Scholarship, open to sophomores. All right, the Udall is another fellowship that is available for sophomores or juniors who are interested in the environment, tribal policy, or tribal health care. This one is due in January of each year. This program focuses on students who are committed to leadership, public service, or issues related to Native American nations or the environment. If this sounds like something you're interested in, this is an ideal program for students who might be working towards solutions to like environmental challenges or issues that are impacting Native Americans. So if that's something of interest to you, this will be a great fit. For this one, you need to have a 3.0 GPA. You will participate in a 5-day orientation in Arizona. And that orientation will provide you an opportunity for professional skill building, as well as networking with the Udall community. Okay, I'm going to pause here for any questions that you might have regarding the fellowships that have an environmental focus. Any questions or comments? All right. Well, if there are none, I will move along. Okay. So I know that I've shared a lot of information. I just shared with you information regarding 7 fellowships. So if you will please bear with me, I have about 3 more options that I'm going to share with you. And these, I just grouped them into the other category. So let's see here. All right, the first fellowship in this category that I want to share with you is the Churchill Scholarship. This is for seniors who are interested in pursuing graduate study and research in the physical and natural sciences, math, or engineering. This is going to be due every November. And this program provides funding for 1 year of master's study at the University of Cambridge. It's focused on helping to advance science and technology in the US and in the UK. And students are selected based on academic as well as research achievements. All right, so if you are an undergraduate, this is something for you to think about as you progress in your college years. All right, another opportunity is GEM. This is also for seniors, and this one focuses on students who are from underrepresented groups in science and engineering who are interested in pursuing an MS or a PhD degree. This one is also due in November. It offers a paid summer internship as well as graduate financial assistance. Um, in this program, you would have the opportunity to work with some of the top engineering and science firms across the nation. For this one, you would need at least a 2.8 GPA in order to be eligible. And also, this one, I believe you are expected to take the GRE in order to qualify for this one. There are multiple GEM member university programs that you can work with, and a list of those universities can be found on our fellowships website. So if you visit the website, type in GEM and click on the fellowship link, it'll take you to that page where you can see the different universities that are a part of this program. All right, and then one more. SMART, Science, Math, and Research for Transformation Scholarship is for students pursuing a degree in one of 21 STEM disciplines. So this one is actually for undergraduates, but can also be for graduate students who are interested in STEM research internships with the Department of Defense. This one is due in December. In order to be eligible, you need to have at least a 3.0 GPA. There is also a service agreement component. So for every year of funding, you must complete or commit to 1 year of employment with the Department of Defense. However, it's a great opportunity because it offers full tuition, an annual stipend, internships, and also guaranteed employment. So, that's a pretty great deal. Okay, so I'm going to pause again to see if we have any questions or comments from those of you who are with us this afternoon. If you have any questions or comments about any of the fellowships that I've shared, any wonderings.
Hey, Chastity.
Hi.
Hi, hello. I actually had a question for one of our student guests. Is Caitlin still here?
Let's see.
Caitlin. See Caitlin. I was gonna say
she's still there.
I don't think she's with us.
She's on the list, but I don't see her.
She is there. She's there.
I was just gonna ask because I know Caitlin had put travel as one of the answers to what can you do with the fellowship. And so I was just gonna echo what you had said, Chastity. And again, this is kind of my own personal bias because I'm in charge of international awards and love everything international. But if you wanted to do research or to get a graduate degree abroad, you can do that. Definitely through Fulbright or the Erasmus Mundus program, which would allow you to get a master's degree abroad. But just wanted to put myself out there as a resource in case you wanted to combine your love of travel and research together.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. So at this time, we are fortunate to have some of our National Fellowship scholars with us. These students have lived through the process, and so I'd like to take the opportunity to allow them to share a bit of their story with you. And then if you have any questions that the students might be able to answer, you can unmute yourselves and ask those questions, or you can drop them in the chat. So the students we have with us today are Caitlin Durr, Haley Durbin, Kirsten Fisher, and Amanda Manea. And I apologize if I pronounce your name incorrectly. And in no specific order, whoever wants to go first, please go ahead, chime in, tell us who you are, and tell us about your fellowship experience.
Sure, I can go first, I guess, since I'm on the left there. So my name is Caitlin Durr. I am a senior biological sciences major with a minor in marine science, and I'm a 2021 Holling Scholar. So I had the incredible opportunity to go intern at Rookery Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve as an avian intern this past summer. And the NERS, the National Estuarine Research Reserve, are places where science is done, as well as environmental education, coastal training, so informing coastal decision makers, as well as a lot of stewardship work. So we did like prescribed burns and things like that. It was an incredible experience. I'm very interested in wildlife and fisheries conservation, and I had the chance during that internship to design and later present a study on protected seabird nesting colonies and the impacts of critical wildlife area postings, different levels of protection there. Yeah, that was just a great experience. I got to do a lot of field work, which was great to learn that is really an area where I excel. I'm a hands-on learner, and so now I know in my career later I'd love to do something similar. And it's also a great opportunity to really, I saw a lot of people talk about networking, network with a diverse audience of both NOAA scientists as well as my peers in the Hollings program. So it was a really great time, and I'm actually working right now to I have a job interview next week with someone in NOAA. So it leads to great things. If you're interested in applying, you definitely should. There is an essay that you have to do, but I feel like that essay really helped me narrow down what I've done, the experiences I've had, and where I want to go. And it really helps you figure out what your interests are and how you can apply those to make the Earth a better place. So yeah.
I can go next since I'm the next one in that list. My name is Kirsten, and I was a 2022 Goldwater Scholar. I actually graduated in December, but I'm sticking around working in the lab I did my undergrad in until I go to grad school in the fall. And I was a biochemistry and molecular biology major. And applying for the Goldwater it's a lot of work, but it's a really good experience. Even if you don't win it, I would recommend everyone apply for it if you want to, you want to go to grad school. It really helps you narrow down your focus of what you want to do in grad school and what you want to do, like research in, what you're interested in. And doing that really helps you with your grad school applications. And also if you apply for other fellowships like the NSF GRFP, which I applied for this past fall. And applying for the Goldwater really made that process a whole lot easier and helped me narrow down my focus for my personal statement. And it really opens up a lot of doors for grad schools. A lot of the programs I applied to, I think that having applied for the Goldwater scholarship and winning it gave me kind of a leg up and helped me more in my interviews articulate better why, like, I wanted to go to grad school. I wanted to go to this particular program and do the research I said I wanted to do. So yeah, if anyone has any questions about the Goldwater, just ask me about it, or applying for grad school or anything.
I'm sorry. Hey everyone. So like Kirsten, I am a 2022 Goldwater Scholar, and honestly, Kirsten and Caitlin made amazing points. Applying for the Goldwater really helped me like synthesize or put together all the things that I've already worked so hard on in undergrad, and help me figure out kind of what I want to do with my life afterwards. So it actually helped me realize like how I want to integrate my math and computer science background in the cancer research I was doing. And like Kirsten said, like being a Goldwater Scholar has opened a lot of doors. It actually led kind of to my interview with the NIH Oxford Cambridge PhD program, which I'm sure Heidi could talk about in more depth, but it's kind of another like international graduate student experience. And also even just applying for the Goldwater really helped me put together an application and helped me with my MD PhD applications when I was applying this year. And also it gave me access to a really great community. The Goldwater Scholar community has a Slack channel, and you can be part of the executive board and meet with other Goldwater Scholars that got the award like 5 years back or 10 years back. They're at different places in their lives, and you can kind of learn from them and what they have accomplished so far. And then I'll just briefly go into the other ones. So the NIH Summer Institute, unfortunately, I wasn't actually able to do that one because it was COVID and it was canceled, but the Mayo Clinic SURF was another really great summer experience, opportunity to network, talk to other students that are also really interested in biomedical research, and also shadow doctors and see how your research can translate to the clinic. So really great opportunities. And you can send me any questions you have.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think Haley is with us. So just do any of our participants have any questions for any of our scholars? You can unmute yourself or you can drop them in the chat. And if I can ask the scholars, if you will drop maybe your name and your email address in the chat so that they have access to it, just in case you don't want to ask your question now, you might want to send them an email later. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if you have questions that you don't necessarily want to share right now, our scholars are dropping their email addresses in the chat. So please feel free to reach out to them with questions that you may have. All right, so we will continue. All right, so you've heard from our scholars, and I want to talk about, just for a few minutes, who makes a good fellowship applicant. If you're wondering that, am I going to be a great applicant? Am I going to be a good applicant? Am I going to be okay? Do I need to do it? So let's talk about that for just a minute. All right, so this is Harrison Bench. He is a 2022 Udall Scholar, and I shared some information with you about Udall previously. And this is Harrison's quote. So I'll give you a minute to look at that. Basically, what he's saying is that during this process, he learned that there is no perfect applicant. Okay, so that's good news for you. When it comes to these awards and programs, being your truest self and staying grounded in your future, in the future that you envision is what ultimately yields success. Okay, so that's a great piece of advice. So if you are, thinking about the odds, don't think about the odds. Think about what Harrison is sharing with you, that there is no such thing as a perfect applicant. All right, and here's some other, ideas for you to think about regarding what might make a good applicant. Students with a demonstrated interest in research. And again, as I shared with you during the presentation, some fellowships are going to require research, others may not. So you do want to, if there was one that was of interest to you, you can check to verify if research was a requirement. You need solid academics, especially in your area of focus. And solid academics, I know that doesn't give you a specific grade point average, but if you recognize during the presentation, most of the fellowships that I shared, they require at least a 3.0. Some of them have a higher GPA requirement, so that information is available on the fellowship's website if there is a GPA requirement. leadership experience, and your leadership experience can look a variety of ways. This might come, within a lab where you're doing lab work. It might come in an organization. It might be on your job. So when you think about leadership, keep in mind that this is a broad area, and it might look different for you than it did for any other student. Okay, resilience and follow through, very important. As one of the scholars mentioned, I think that was speaking about Goldwater, it's a long process. And there may be some times where you feel like it's an obstacle, but keep in mind that, obstacles are temporary. And you need to develop, resilience to persevere through things that you really want. And sometimes once you get past the first hurdle, as someone else mentioned, you might apply for a fellowship and feel like the process is, long and intense, but that process will definitely help you, as you get ready to apply for graduate school or whatever your future plans might entail. And then a good applicant is going to have a unique perspective on the world's biggest problems. So again, be your truest self and give the best representation of who you are. Think about what your goals and aspirations are. And that's what makes a good applicant. All right, what things can you do now? Any ideas based on what you've heard today? What things might you start working on now if you're interested in applying for a national fellowship? Any ideas? You can unmute yourself or drop your ideas in the chat. Yes, contact your fellowship peer mentors. We had 3 of them join us today. That's a great idea. Any other ideas? What can you do now if you are interested? Yes, investigate the info database. I did not share that with you, but let me see if I can drop the link in the chat.
Val's got it in the chat.
Oh, thank you. She's faster than me. Yes, this is the link to our list of competitions. So please, if you're curious about what else there is out there, please take time to explore, schedule an appointment with us. We can also help you explore the database. Yes, research the organizations associated with the fellowships, their missions, and think about what your place could be within it. Yes, all great ideas. Okay, in addition to that, here are some other things that you can definitely start doing if you were interested in fellowships. First, when you're taking classes or choosing classes, challenge yourself. And then, of course, you want to do relatively well in your classes because, as I mentioned, some of the fellowships have GPA requirements. Next, look for research opportunities. Sometimes that might be on campus, there may be summer opportunities, or they might even be outside of USC, but look for research opportunities. And if you have done research or if you're planning to do research, think about opportunities that you might have to present your research, such as posters, presentations, publications. If you look here, I have included the email address for the Office of Undergraduate Research. So if you are interested in research, but you don't really know what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. The Office of Undergraduate Research can help you think about your ideas, and they can pair you with a faculty mentor. So you just need to have the curiosity and a desire to learn, and the Office of Undergraduate Research can help you find a research opportunity. So their email address is here. And then also, Discover USC. If you have not heard of Discover USC, it is taking place on April 21st of this year. This is an opportunity to present your research. So if you want to present research that you've done, or if you're in the process of doing research and you want to present, this is an opportunity for you to do that. You do need to register by March 3rd, which is coming really quickly. But I certainly would encourage you to, take this as an opportunity to present your research, because that will be helpful when you're applying for some of the fellowships that I discussed. That's something you can list on your resume. You can write about it, about your experience. And so if you're interested in that, make sure you register. You can go online and search for Discover USC on the USC website, and you should be able to find that information relatively easy. All right, so let's talk about how you write a strong application. Okay, here's some tips. First, start early. Throughout the presentation, I gave you due dates as far as like the months. So you want to think ahead, start early, find your fit. That's very important. Think about who you are, what your goals are. Do they align with the mission for the fellowship that you're applying for? Think about what they're looking for, but also think about what are you looking for? It has to be mutually beneficial. So find your fit. Use your resources. So use our office, schedule an appointment, talk to the fellowship peer mentors, schedule an appointment with the Office of Undergraduate Research. Think about the resources that we've discussed today. Be open to feedback. So if you do start in the process, as I mentioned, you'll want to, schedule an appointment with us to come to review your essays. So be open to the feedback that you receive. You might also receive feedback from a faculty mentor. So just be receptive to that feedback. And you want to make sure you demonstrate your interest. Don't just, when you're writing, you don't want to just list them, but demonstrate your interests. What are they? Give enough details so that someone who doesn't know you understands what your interests are. Reflect on your accomplishments and goals. That's something that we might not do every single day, but if you don't do this frequently, you should. If you don't have a resume, you might start there, writing a resume, or just, a concept web where you're listing your accomplishments and goals. Just get it on paper so that you know what they are, everything big, everything small, because it will be important for you to have a sense of what your accomplishments and goals are before you start the process. And our fellowship peer mentors who were on the call today, if you just want to talk to someone about the process, you can grab a coffee with one of our FPMs. You have their contact information. There are also other FPMs that we can connect you to if you're interested in a specific fellowship and you want to speak to someone who has lived that specific experience. We'd be happy to connect you to those FPMs as well. All right, how to get started. This is our amazing NFSP team here. Things that you need to do to get started. So you've already done step one, attend this workshop. And we also have other workshops as well if you check our website. If there are other areas of interest, please feel free to drop into our workshops. Some of them are virtual and some of them are face-to-face. Again, if you want to learn more about what's available, Valerie dropped the link in the chat, but this is also the website here for you to access the competitions database. And then, as we've mentioned a couple of times, make an appointment with one of the advisors to discuss what your interests are. So if you don't really know where to start, make an appointment with myself or one of my other colleagues. And if you haven't done this, create or update your candidate profile. You can do this again once you go to schedule an appointment. You can create your candidate profile, or when you come in for an appointment, we can talk to you about it and send you a follow-up email with a link to your candidate profile. Okay, and then tell us your intent to apply. If you found some fellowships in your search that you might be interested in, let us know what you're thinking about, just so we have an idea of, what to discuss with you when you come in for your appointment. Any questions about how to get started? All right, so we have about 4 minutes left for any remaining questions or comments that you might have about any of the information that I've shared with you today. Any questions? All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. If you will, scan the QR code on the screen and let us know what you thought about the workshop. Here's my contact information as well as Jen's contact information if you want to send us an email. And again, I'll hang on for the last few minutes to see if anybody has a question. I think, Sydney, I think you're the student still on here with us. Do you have any questions that we can answer?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you to the students who joined us. I appreciate your insight and sharing your stories with the 2 students that we had. Thank you so much.
Good job, Chastity.
Yeah.
Yay, good job.
Thank you.
Yay.
And thank you, FPMs. Everybody
you.
did a great job.
Now go outside and bask in the sunshine.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, go enjoy some sunlight. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank y'all.
Okay, bye.
Stop recording.
Okay.
It'll stop if you just stop the meeting.